Hey everybody, I'm here today with Justin Huey.
Hey,
he's a candidate for State Rep District 8, which is Y-side from Waikapu all the way down to Kahakuloa. We're going to walk story. Thanks for joining us today, Justin.
Definitely.
All right. Could you tell us a little bit about your background? What are your ties to Maui? What makes you want to be involved in politics?
Well, let's see, let's first go through my family. My grandfather was in World War II, and he came back to be a political science teacher and history teacher, was known as the Colonel. My grandmother was a librarian, had this amazing dream, and turned it into a book called King Tut's Game Board. My father was a law professor and was on Bobby Kennedy's Justice Department. My mother knew she wanted to be a public defender ever since she read To Kill a Mockingbird. And they had me. Justin came from the root word justice, or the Roman Emperor Justinian, the giver of the laws. I feel very fortunate to be successful in life, and one of the biggest reasons is from a quality education. Education is opportunity. And when I was young, I'm dyslexic and I struggled with my own learning. So once I got over that, I wanted to help other kids like myself and be a special education teacher and provide the progressive curriculum and teaching style that I needed when I was younger. So started teaching here at King Kamehameha III Elementary in Lahaina in 2005, and yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle. One of the first years teaching, hey guys, how's it going? Tim. One of the first years teaching, we had holes in the ceiling and the rain was coming in, and the kids were actually getting rained on, and the ceiling was falling in on the kids in the classroom, and I was completely appalled. And I found out it was the funding for the third grade roof was allocated, but Linda Lingle hadn't released the funding. So I then just went to the paper and said, hey, look at this problem, community. This is utterly ridiculous. And that roof got put on 6 months later. So, yeah.
So what do you see as some of the gaps in our education system that you would like to address if you went to legislation?
For at least 12 years, I've always been lobbying other legislators, and it's very frustrating because every legislator runs on education. Some will say, you know, hey, I put up a roof at this building, or I put up money for this building, but that doesn't solve the real issue at hand. That just continues the same problem that we've had since 1911. If you read Hawaii Pono, the problems in education were meager funding, too few teachers, dilapidated buildings, and we're still fighting those same three issues today. And as HSTA, as the Hawaii State Teachers Association Vice President, we fought that the last 3 years. So the real problem is dedicated funding, adequate dedicated funding stream. And we have the least amount of taxation to public education in the country. So the big five plantation owners didn't want the plantation workers' kids to get a good enough education to leave the plantation. So they didn't establish an educational system that would produce a quality education. You know, so we have to, I mean, in 1911, same problems. You know, enough is enough. We need a dedicated funding stream, and that's why HSCA came up with a constitutional amendment to raise property taxes on investment properties over $1 million. 52% of all homes on Maui are owned by non-residents. We feel that they are the ones that can spend a little more for our keiki.
So then the other thing you're saying that they brought up was teacher shortage, right?
Yeah.
How would you address that?
Well, one, you have to give competitive salaries. We have the worst salaries in the country when it comes to cost of living. But overall, we have to have people that are living on Maui staying as teachers, and it just doesn't make any sense to go into, oh, right behind you. Hey, it's all good.
You guys enjoy, huh?
Yeah, thanks. We can't just be going to the mainland to recruit people to leave in 2 years. So we need to find programs to grow our own, more money for grow our own, so that students here, the best and the brightest here, are going into our public educational system. But you know, after that, after they get through high school, they get into the job, then they need affordable housing. And I was lucky to purchase a home through Nahalio Maui, a non-for-profit that buys foreclosed homes, fixes them up, and sells them to people in the community at a reduced rate. So I have a $650,000 house 30 years ago, went into foreclosure, and they bought it from the bank for $375,000, put 20 grand into it, so it was turnkey ready to go, and then sold it for me for $275,000. So I own a 3-bedroom house in Lower Kailani for $1,278 mortgage. And organizations like Nahalio Maui could do more of this if the state were to create a special fund like the rental housing fund, but do an affordable housing special fund so that organizations like Nahalio Maui can turn foreclosed homes into permanent affordable housing in perpetuity. And our community really needs that, and they need real answers. And that's one.
Well, all right, Justin. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's time to say goodbye, but I want to thank you for walking story with us.
I appreciate you guys doing this. Our community deserves more information about the candidates that are running.
All right, and remember to vote August 11th in the primary, November 6th in the general.
More information about me at www.putateacherinthehouse.com. Thank you.